Elon Musk adjusted his tie as he stepped off the private jet, the warm, humid air of Vietnam wrapping around him like a thick blanket. He had traveled the world, but this trip felt different. This wasn't just another venture for Tesla, it was an opportunity to explore new horizons and connect with a culture that had long fascinated him. However, a subtle apprehension lingered at the back of his mind. "Welcome to Vietnam, Mr. Musk," greeted his local liaison, Min, with a bright smile. The vibrancy of the bustling airport and the cacophony of voices filled the air. The smell of street food wafted through the entrance, tantalizing his senses. As he stepped into the lively streets of Hanoi, he couldn't shake the feeling that this trip would be more than just business. Despite his reputation as a trailblazer in technology and innovation, Elon was aware of the weight of history that hung over Vietnam, a history marked by war, pain, and resilience. He was here to scout locations for a new factory, but he couldn't help but wonder what else he would discover in this unfamiliar land. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning, he thought, recalling his social media strategy. He often engaged his followers this way, hoping to inspire them. Little did he know, this journey would lead him to something much deeper than he had anticipated. As the car wound through the streets, vibrant markets and colorful street vendors flashed by. Elon marveled at the energy of the city, but there was a nagging feeling in his gut. He had heard stories about the lingering effects of the Vietnam War, particularly the impact of Agent Orange on families. Yet, he had never truly understood its gravity. Later that evening, after a series of meetings filled with local leaders and potential partners, Elon decided to take a break. He ventured out to explore, hoping to absorb more of the culture. The streets were alive with laughter and music, and he felt a sense of freedom in the chaos. He stumbled upon a small cafe, the kind where locals gathered, sipping strong Vietnamese coffee. He took a seat outside, watching the world go by. That's when he noticed a group of children playing nearby, their laughter echoing in the air. For a moment, he felt a wave of nostalgia, memories of his own childhood flooded back. But as he observed closely, his heart sank. Among the children, a few were noticeably different. They struggled to play, their movements awkward and hesitant. One little boy, his limbs twisted and frail, attempted to join in but quickly fell behind. A pang of sorrow struck Elon, igniting an urgency within him. He reached for his phone to document this moment, thinking about how to share the beauty and complexity of Vietnam with his followers. But as he looked through the lens, capturing the innocent joy of the other children, he couldn't ignore the painful contrast. What was it like to be one of those children? How did the shadows of war impact their lives? As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Elon felt an overwhelming wave of emotion wash over him. The laughter of the children faded into a haunting silence in his mind. He knew he was on the cusp of something significant, something that would challenge him to reflect on his own values and the responsibilities of his power and influence. He left the cafe with a heavy heart, contemplating the lives that were shaped by circumstances beyond their control. This trip was supposed to be about business, but it was becoming clear that he was being called to a deeper purpose. What would he do with this newfound awareness? The question lingered in the air as he returned to his hotel, the bustling city now feeling more like a backdrop to the stories he would soon uncover. He had come to Vietnam to explore opportunities, but perhaps he would leave with something far more valuable, a sense of responsibility for those who had been forgotten. The journey was just beginning, and Elon Musk could already feel the weight of the world on his shoulders. The following morning, the sun rose over Hanoi, casting a golden glow on the streets below. Elon Musk woke up with a mix of excitement and trepidation, eager to dive deeper into the vibrant culture surrounding him. Today was dedicated to exploring the heart of Vietnam, beyond business meetings and factory tours. After a quick breakfast, Elon met Min, who had arranged a day filled with local experiences. "Today, we'll visit some of the historical sites and meet with community members," Min explained enthusiastically. "You'll see the real Vietnam. As they drove through the bustling city, Elon couldn't help but be captivated by the sights and sounds. Street vendors shouted their wares, offering everything from fresh faux to colorful fabrics. Motorbikes whizzed by, creating a symphony of honks and laughter. The energy was infectious, and for a moment, he forgot about the weight of the previous day's observations. Their first stop was the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum, a monumental tribute to the nation's revolutionary leader. As he walked through the grounds, Elon was struck by the reverence with which the Vietnamese honored their history. People lined up to pay their respects, and he could sense the deep pride they held for their country. After visiting the mausoleum, Min took Elon to a local market. The air was thick with the aromas of spices, fresh produce, and grilled meats. Elon wandered through the stalls, sampling different foods and chatting with vendors. He was amazed by the warmth of the people, their laughter and hospitality shining through despite the challenges they faced. "Do you like it here?" Min asked, observing Elon's delight. "I love it. The culture is incredible," Elon replied, a genuine smile breaking across his face. "But I can't shake the feeling that there's so much more beneath the surface." Min nodded, understanding the complexity of the country's past. Yes, Vietnam has a rich history, but it's also a place of resilience. Many people have stories that need to be heard. Elon's curiosity grew as they continued their journey. They visited the Temple of Literature, a serene oasis amid the bustling city. As he wandered through the tranquil gardens, he reflected on the importance of education and knowledge, concepts that resonated deeply with his own values. Later that afternoon, they headed to a small community center on the outskirts of the city. Min explained that it was a gathering place for families affected by Agent Orange. As they arrived, Elon felt a mix of anticipation and apprehension. He knew he was about to step into a reality that was far removed from his own. Inside, he was greeted by smiling faces and a palpable sense of community. The walls were adorned with artwork created by the children, bright colors contrasting with the somber stories that lay behind them. Elon sat down with a group of mothers, who shared their experiences of raising children with disabilities. Their voices were filled with both love and sorrow. One mother, Lon, spoke about her son, who struggled to walk and communicate. "He is my joy, but every day is a challenge," she said, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "We fight for his future, but we need help." Elon listened intently, his heart heavy with compassion. He asked questions, wanting to understand their struggles and dreams. The mothers opened up, sharing tales of resilience and hope amid the challenges they faced. Elon felt a growing connection to their stories, recognizing the shared humanity that transcended borders. As they finished their discussion, Lon invited Elon to see her son. "He loves to draw. Maybe you'd like to meet him?" He agreed, and as they walked into a small, bright room filled with drawings, he was greeted by a boy named Min, who was around 8 years old. Min struggled to hold a pencil but smiled widely when he saw Elon. The boy's enthusiasm was contagious, and Elon couldn't help but smile back. They spent time together, and Elon was deeply moved by the boy's spirit. Despite his challenges, Min's laughter echoed through the room as he showed off his artwork. Each drawing told a story, a testament to his imagination and resilience. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the community center, Elon realized that this trip was becoming much more than a business venture. It was an awakening, an invitation to become a part of something larger than himself. He knew he was witnessing the strength of families who had faced unimaginable hardships, yet continued to fight for their children's futures. As he left the community center that evening, the weight of the stories he had heard lingered in his heart. Elon felt a determination growing within him. This was not just about establishing a factory in Vietnam, it was about recognizing the responsibilities that came with power and influence. What impact could he make? He pondered the question as he returned to his hotel, the lights of the city twinkling like stars against the night sky. The faces of the mothers and their children filled his mind, and he knew he had to do more. The seeds of change were being planted, and he was ready to cultivate them. The next morning, Elon awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. He had seen the beauty of Vietnam, but he had also been confronted with its painful history, a history that seemed to intertwine with the lives of the people he had met. Today, he planned to visit a village known for its struggles with Agent Orange, hoping to understand the deeper implications of what he had witnessed. As he and Min drove out of the city, the scenery shifted from bustling urban life to lush rice paddies and rolling hills. The landscape was breathtaking, but the journey felt heavy with anticipation. Elon could sense that this visit would be pivotal. Upon arriving in the village, they were greeted by a warm welcome from the locals. The air was thick with the smell of fresh herbs and grilled meats, and children played nearby, their laughter punctuating the serene atmosphere. But as Elon observed more closely, he noticed a stark contrast between the joyful sounds and the weary faces of the adults. They visited a community center where families affected by Agent Orange gathered. Here, Elon met with a group of parents who shared their harrowing stories. One father, Tuan, spoke of his daughter, who had been born with severe disabilities. "She is a blessing, but she needs support that we can't provide," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. Elon listened intently, but the stories weighed heavily on him. The depth of their struggles was overwhelming, and he felt a wave of helplessness wash over him. The realization that these families were suffering due to decisions made long ago by powers beyond their control ignited a fire within him. As the discussions continued, tension began to rise in the room. A sense of frustration bubbled to the surface as parents expressed their anger towards the lack of support and acknowledgement from the government. "Why are we forgotten?" one mother exclaimed, her voice rising in intensity. "Our children deserve better." Elon felt the weight of their despair. These were not just statistics, these were real lives, filled with dreams and struggles. He understood their anger but felt unequipped to address the systemic issues they faced. How could he, a businessman, bring about change in a world riddled with bureaucracy and indifference? After the meeting, Elon took a moment to step outside, needing to clear his mind. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the village, but he felt a chill deep inside. He leaned against a wall, trying to process everything he had heard. The stories of pain were not new to him, but witnessing the human impact was profoundly different. Min joined him, sensing his turmoil. "You're feeling the weight of their stories, aren't you?" he asked gently. Elon nodded, looking out at the rice fields. "It's heartbreaking. I came here to explore opportunities, but now I can't ignore the realities these families face." Min placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You have the power to make a difference, Elon. Sometimes, it just takes one person to spark change." Inspired yet apprehensive, Elon began to consider his next steps. He knew that merely acknowledging the issues wouldn't be enough, he had to take action. But what could a businessman do in the face of such systemic challenges? That night, as he lay in bed, his mind raced with possibilities. He thought about his companies and the platforms he had built. What if he could use his influence to advocate for the families he had met? What if he could rally support for initiatives that provided resources and aid? The next day, he met with local NGOs that focused on the aftermath of Agent Orange. They shared their projects, many of which struggled for funding and attention. Elon listened, his mind racing with ideas. "What if we created a campaign to raise awareness about this issue?" he proposed. "We could use social media, leverage my platforms to reach a global audience." The representatives exchanged glances, surprised yet intrigued. "That could be powerful," one woman said. "But it won't be easy. Many people still don't understand the effects of Agent Orange, especially outside of Vietnam." Elon felt a surge of determination. "I'm not afraid of a challenge. If we can educate people and build a community around this cause, we can make an impact." With newfound resolve, Elon returned to his hotel, ready to draft a plan. He envisioned a campaign that not only highlighted the struggles of the affected families but also showcased their resilience. He wanted to tell their stories, to bring visibility to an issue that had long been overshadowed. But as he mapped out his ideas, doubts crept in. Would the business community support him? Would he face backlash for stepping into a political arena? The stakes were high, and the fear of failure loomed over him. Still, he couldn't shake the images of the families he had met, their smiles mixed with pain. He remembered Lan's unwavering love for her son and Tuan's determination to fight for his daughter. Their strength fueled his resolve. Elon took a deep breath, focusing on the larger mission. This wasn't just about a factory anymore, it was about standing up for those who had been silenced for too long. He was ready to confront the rising conflict, both within himself and in the world around him. The path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but he knew he had to try. With his heart set on making a difference, Elon Musk stepped into a new chapter of his life, one that intertwined his ambitions with the hopes and dreams of the families he had come to know. The journey was just beginning, and he felt more determined than ever to be a catalyst for change. The following morning, the sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm light over Hanoi. Elon awoke with a renewed sense of purpose, his mind racing with ideas for the campaign he envisioned. He felt a growing urgency to act, and today, he planned to visit another community center that provided support to families affected by Agent Orange. As he arrived, he was met with a sense of camaraderie. The center was bustling with activity, children playing, parents chatting, and volunteers organizing resources. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and resilience, a stark contrast to the stories of hardship he had heard just days before. Min introduced Elon to the center's director, Ms. Ha, a passionate woman dedicated to uplifting families in need. "We're thrilled to have you here, Mr. Musk," she said, her eyes sparkling with hope. "Your presence can help bring attention to our cause." Elon felt a rush of responsibility wash over him. He spent time interacting with the families, playing games with the children and listening to their stories. One young girl, Lynn, shared her dreams of becoming an artist, her eyes shining with ambition. "I want to paint the world," she declared, holding up a vibrant drawing of a colorful landscape. Elon couldn't help but admire her spirit. "You can absolutely do that, Lynn. Your talent is incredible," he encouraged her, feeling a warmth spread through him. Moments like these reminded him of the beauty that existed alongside the struggles. As he continued to connect with the families, Elon learned more about the ongoing challenges they faced. Many of the children required medical attention and therapy that was often out of reach due to financial constraints. The emotional toll on the parents was evident as they juggled caregiving, work, and the hope for a better future. After spending the morning at the center, Elon sat down with Ms. Ha and Min to discuss how he could help. "I want to create a campaign that raises awareness not only about Agent Orange but also highlights the strength of these families," he explained. "We need to tell their stories and connect with people who can support them." Ms. Ha nodded, her expression serious. "That's a wonderful idea, but it's essential to approach it thoughtfully. We need to ensure that the families are comfortable sharing their experiences, and we must focus on their voices, not just the statistics." Elon appreciated her insight. "Absolutely. I want this to be a collaboration. Their stories matter, and we should elevate them, not overshadow them." With a plan forming in his mind, he envisioned a series of short documentaries showcasing individual families. Each film would tell their unique stories, emphasizing their resilience and the impact of Agent Orange on their lives. The campaign would leverage social media platforms to reach a global audience, inspiring action and support. Over the next few days, Elon worked closely with Ms. Ha and her team to gather the necessary materials. They held meetings with families, discussing the project and ensuring everyone felt comfortable participating. It was a delicate balance, sharing personal stories while respecting the family's privacy and dignity. As they began filming, Elon felt a deep sense of connection to the people he was working with. He witnessed their struggles and triumphs, each story echoing the common themes of love, resilience, and hope. He learned about the sacrifices parents made for their children, the endless battles they fought for better care, and the joy that still found a way to shine through even the darkest moments. One afternoon, while filming Lynn's story, Elon was struck by her infectious laughter. She shared how she found joy in painting, using it as an escape from the challenges her family faced. "When I paint, I feel free," she said, her eyes twinkling. "I can create anything." Elon felt inspired by her perspective. In that moment, he realized that these families were not just victims of circumstance, they were warriors in their own right. Their strength and determination ignited a fire in him, pushing him to amplify their voices further. As filming progressed, Elon faced unexpected challenges. The logistics of creating the campaign were daunting, and he encountered resistance from some business associates who questioned the move. "Why are you getting involved in a political issue? It could harm your reputation," one colleague warned during a video call. Elon felt a surge of frustration. "This isn't just about business. It's about doing what's right. These families deserve to be heard, and if I have the platform to help them, then I must," he replied firmly. Despite the pushback, he found solace in the community he had built around the project. The families he worked with became his motivation, their stories a reminder of the importance of empathy and action. He continued to push forward, dedicated to bringing attention to their plight. As the campaign began to take shape, he scheduled a launch event in Hanoi. He envisioned a gathering that would bring together local leaders, international media, and the families themselves, creating a platform for their stories to resonate far beyond Vietnam. The day of the event arrived, and the air was thick with anticipation. Elon stood on stage, surrounded by families and community leaders. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their hopes resting on his shoulders. "Today, we gather not just to raise awareness about Agent Orange but to celebrate the strength and resilience of these families," he began. He shared Lynn's story, highlighting her passion for art and the struggles her family faced. As he spoke, he could see the audience's reaction. People were moved, their faces reflecting empathy and compassion. It was a powerful moment, one that underscored the importance of storytelling in creating change. As the event concluded, the atmosphere shifted from tension to hope. Supporters rallied around the cause, offering resources and connections that could aid the families. Elon felt a sense of accomplishment wash over him. He was making a difference. But amid the celebration, he couldn't shake the feeling that the journey was far from over. The families he had met needed ongoing support, and the fight for justice was just beginning. As he looked out at the crowd, he realized that his role had evolved. He was no longer just a businessman, he was an advocate. The journey of discovery had opened his eyes to the complexities of the world around him. Elon understood that change was a collective effort, and he was committed to standing alongside these families as they fought for their rights and dignity. As he left the event, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. The road ahead would be challenging, but he was ready to face it, armed with the stories and strength of the people he had come to know. Together, they would continue to push for change, proving that even the smallest voices could create ripples of impact in a world yearning for justice. The weeks that followed the launch event were a whirlwind of activity and emotions for Elon. The campaign had garnered significant media attention, leading to widespread awareness about the struggles faced by families affected by Agent Orange. Social media buzzed with hashtags promoting the cause, and donations began to pour in, providing much-needed resources for the community centers. Yet, despite the momentum, Elon felt a sense of urgency growing within him. The excitement of the campaign was tinged with the weight of responsibility. He had met countless families who were counting on him, and he knew he had to do more than just raise awareness. He wanted to foster real change. One evening, after a long day of meetings, Elon sat in his hotel room, surrounded by documents outlining potential partnerships with NGOs and local businesses. His phone buzzed with messages from supporters, and the energy from the campaign pulsed through him. But as he scrolled through the updates, a news alert caught his eye, a report on the lingering effects of Agent Orange in rural areas, focusing on children suffering from severe health issues. Elon's heart sank as he read the details. The statistics were staggering. Thousands of children continued to be born with disabilities, many families struggling to care for them without adequate support. The emotional toll was devastating, and he felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Suddenly, the reality of the situation crashed over him like a wave. The campaign he had launched was a vital step, but it was not enough. He couldn't shake the image of Lynn's radiant smile, the laughter of the children he had played with, and the pain etched on the faces of the parents who had entrusted him with their stories. He realized that the fight for justice was not just about awareness, it was about tangible support and systemic change. Determined, Elon reached out to Min and Ms. Ha, proposing an emergency meeting. They gathered at a local cafe, where he laid out his thoughts, his voice steady but laced with urgency. We need to go beyond awareness. We need to establish a fund that directly supports these families: medical care, education, resources. We can't let their struggles go unanswered. Ms. Ha nodded, her expression serious. That's a powerful idea, but it will require significant planning and resources. We need to engage the community and find ways to make this sustainable. Elon agreed. They discussed potential partnerships with local businesses, international NGOs, and even government agencies. It was ambitious, but the stakes were high. The families deserved better, and he was determined to make it happen. As they delved into the logistics, Elon felt a surge of hope. Together, they could create a network of support that addressed the immediate needs of the families while advocating for long-term change. But with hope came a sense of fear. What if they failed to garner enough support? What if the bureaucratic hurdles became too daunting? The weight of these thoughts clung to him as he returned to his hotel that night. He stared out the window at the city lights, reflecting on the journey he had embarked on. The emotional highs and lows were overwhelming, but the faces of the families he had met anchored him. They were his motivation, reminding him of why he had stepped into this role in the first place. A few days later, as the campaign continued to gain traction, Elon received a message from Tuan, the father he had met in the village. Tuan wanted to share an update about his daughter. Elon's heart raced as he dialed the number. "Tuan, it's Elon. How are you?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. "Hello, Mr. Musk. Thank you for calling. I wanted to let you know that my daughter has been accepted into a special program for children with disabilities," Tuan said, his voice trembling with emotion. "We couldn't have done it without the support from your campaign. Thank you for believing in us." Elon felt a wave of relief wash over him. "That's wonderful news. I'm so glad to hear it. You and your family deserve all the support in the world." As Tuan spoke about the program, Elon listened intently, feeling the connection between them deepen. But as the conversation continued, Tuan's voice turned somber. "However, we still face many challenges. The program is limited, and we worry about what happens next. There are many families who need help, just like us." Elon's heart sank again. "I promise you, we are working on something that could help more families. We're trying to establish a fund that provides ongoing support for those affected." "Thank you," Tuan replied, his voice filled with gratitude and hope. "It means the world to us." After hanging up, Elon was filled with determination. He could not allow their stories to fade away. He began drafting a comprehensive plan for the fund, detailing how it would operate and the resources it would provide. He envisioned a community-driven initiative, one that empowered families while providing immediate assistance. As he shared his ideas with Min and Ms. Ha, their excitement grew. They began reaching out to potential partners, rallying support from local businesses and international organizations. The more they engaged with the community, the more they realized the depth of their shared mission. But just as they began to gain traction, they encountered significant resistance from local officials who viewed their initiative with skepticism. During a meeting to present their plans, one official questioned the sustainability of their efforts. "You cannot simply throw money at a problem without a long-term strategy," he argued, crossing his arms defiantly. Elon felt a surge of frustration but remained composed. "This isn't just about funding, it's about creating a network of support that empowers families. We want to collaborate, not impose." The discussion grew heated, tensions rising as community leaders expressed their concerns about the feasibility of the fund. It was a pivotal moment, one that could derail their progress. Elon felt the weight of their doubts pressing down on him, but he also felt a flicker of hope igniting within him. He took a deep breath and shared his vision again, this time focusing on the family's stories, their resilience, their struggles, and their dreams. "We're not just talking about numbers, we're talking about lives. This is about giving families the tools they need to thrive, to create a future for their children." As he spoke, he could see the room begin to shift. A few community leaders nodded, and he felt the tension ease slightly. By the end of the meeting, they had secured a commitment to collaborate and refine their plans. It was a small victory, but it felt monumental. The emotional highs and lows of this journey were exhausting, but each step brought them closer to their goal. Elon realized that the fight for justice was not just about numbers, it was about connection, empathy, and unwavering commitment. As the weeks turned into months, the fund began to take shape. Families rallied around the initiative, sharing their stories and inspiring others to join the cause. Elon felt the weight of hope lifting him, fueling his determination to see this through. But deep down, he knew this was just the beginning. The road ahead would be filled with challenges, and he had to be ready to face them. The emotional climax of this journey was not just about achieving a goal, it was about understanding the complexities of change and the power of community. With renewed determination, Elon embraced the path ahead. Together with the families he had come to know and love, he was ready to push for a future filled with hope and possibility. The battle for justice was far from over, but he was committed to fighting alongside them, no matter the obstacles they faced. As the campaign for the Agent Orange Fund progressed, Elon found himself deeply immersed in the community he had come to love. The stories of resilience continued to inspire him, and he felt a profound sense of responsibility to ensure that the initiative thrived. However, he also understood that success would require continuous effort and collaboration. The first official fundraiser for the Agent Orange Fund was scheduled to take place in Hanoi. Elon and his team worked tirelessly to prepare for the event, reaching out to local businesses, influential figures, and community members. They aimed to create a night that would not only raise money but also celebrate the strength of the families they were supporting. On the evening of the event, the venue was filled with a palpable sense of excitement. Families affected by Agent Orange gathered alongside supporters, all united by a common cause. The atmosphere buzzed with energy, and Elon felt a mixture of nerves and anticipation as he took the stage to address the crowd. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "We stand together to honor the incredible families who have faced unimaginable challenges and yet continue to show us what resilience truly means." As he shared the stories of families like Tuan and Lin, he felt a connection with the audience grow stronger. The room was filled with empathy and understanding, each story resonating with the attendees. By the time he finished speaking, the crowd erupted in applause, a powerful affirmation of their shared commitment to the cause. The fundraising efforts that night exceeded all expectations. Donations poured in, not just from local businesses but also from individuals who were moved by the stories they had heard. Elon felt a surge of hope as he watched the community come together, their collective spirit shining brightly. But even in the midst of success, he felt a lingering anxiety. Would the support continue? Would they be able to create a sustainable model that truly made a difference in the lives of the families? Those questions weighed heavily on his mind. In the following weeks, Elon and his team focused on establishing the fund's infrastructure. They worked with financial experts to ensure that the donations were allocated effectively, and they continued to engage with the families to understand their ongoing needs. The process was complex and sometimes frustrating, but with each step forward, he felt a sense of purpose grow stronger. One afternoon, as they were finalizing plans for the fund, Elon received a surprise visit from Lynn and her family. Tuan had brought her to express their gratitude personally. "Mr. Musk, we wanted to thank you for everything you've done," Tuan said, his eyes shining with pride. "Lynn has been accepted into an art class thanks to the support from the fund. She's so excited." Elon's heart swelled with joy. "That's amazing, Tuan. I'm so proud of Lynn. She's going to be a fantastic artist." Lynn beamed, clutching her sketchbook filled with her latest creations. "I can't wait to show you my next painting," she exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. In that moment, Elon realized the profound impact of their work. It wasn't just about raising money, it was about providing opportunities and fostering hope. He felt a renewed sense of commitment wash over him. As the months rolled on, the fund began to gain traction. More families were supported, and their stories began to reach a wider audience. The campaign sparked conversations about the effects of Agent Orange, pushing the issue into public discourse both locally and internationally. Elon felt a sense of pride as he saw the community coming together to advocate for those who had been marginalized for too long. But as the fund continued to grow, so did the challenges. Elon encountered bureaucratic hurdles, as government officials began to scrutinize their efforts. Some viewed the campaign as a threat to the status quo, and resistance began to build. During a particularly tense meeting with local authorities, Elon stood firm in his convictions. "We're not here to undermine anyone, we're here to support families who have suffered for decades. Our goal is to work together to find solutions, not to create divisions." The officials were not easily swayed, but Elon's passion resonated with some community leaders who had witnessed the changes firsthand. Slowly, they began to see the value in collaboration, and discussions shifted toward finding common ground. As the tensions eased, Elon knew that the fight was far from over. He had entered a world filled with complexities, where change was often met with resistance. But he was no longer intimidated, he was determined to persevere. One day, while reflecting on the journey thus far, Elon found himself thinking about the families who had inspired him. He remembered the warmth in their smiles and the strength in their stories. He realized that every step taken was a testament to their resilience, and it fueled his desire to keep pushing forward. At a gathering celebrating the fund's achievements, Elon took the stage once more, this time filled with confidence and clarity. "We have come so far, but our journey is just beginning. We must continue to advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves. Together, we will create a brighter future for these families." The room erupted in applause, and Elon felt a sense of unity wash over him. They were all in this together, families, supporters, and advocates alike. Each person's contribution mattered, and he was proud to be part of this movement. As the night came to a close, Elon stood outside, gazing at the stars. The journey had transformed him in ways he never anticipated. He had stepped outside his comfort zone and found purpose in the fight for justice. The stories of resilience had become his own, and he felt a deep sense of connection to the families he had met. In that moment of reflection, he understood that the challenges ahead would be significant, but so would the rewards. Together, they would continue to advocate for change, drawing strength from one another. The emotional journey had deepened his resolve, and he was committed to standing by their side, ensuring that their voices would be heard. As he looked to the future, Elon knew that the road would be long and winding, but he was ready to face it. Empowered by the stories of those who had touched his heart, he felt a renewed sense of purpose guiding him forward. The fight for justice was far from over, but Elon Musk was determined to make a lasting impact, not just for himself, but for the families he had come to admire and love. Together, they would create ripples of change that would echo far beyond the borders of Vietnam, shining a light on the power of compassion and collective action. As the Agent Orange Fund continued to gain momentum, Elon found himself navigating a complex landscape of challenges and opportunities. The stories of families he had met fueled his passion, but he quickly realized that advocacy was only part of the equation. To create meaningful change, he needed to engage with policymakers and rally broader support. One day, while brainstorming strategies with Min and Ms. Ha, Elon proposed a bold idea. What if we organized a summit that brings together local leaders, government officials, and international NGOs? We could create a platform for dialogue and collaboration, allowing us to address the issues more comprehensively. Min's eyes lit up. That could be a game changer. If we can get influential figures in the same room, we might finally push for real policy changes. Ms. Han nodded in agreement. We need to highlight the stories of families affected by Agent Orange. It's vital that the decision-makers see the human impact of their policies. Excited by the prospect, they began planning the summit, reaching out to potential speakers and partners. As the date approached, the anticipation grew, and Elon felt the weight of responsibility intensify. This event could be the turning point in their campaign, but it also had the potential to falter if not executed well. On the day of the summit, the venue buzzed with energy as participants began to arrive. Elon stood at the entrance, greeting attendees and welcoming them to the event. The atmosphere was electric, filled with hope and determination. The opening session began, and Elon took the stage, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. Thank you all for being here today. We've gathered to address the ongoing impact of Agent Orange and to find collaborative solutions that can support the families affected. Together, we can make a difference. As he shared the stories of families like Tuan and Lin, the room fell silent. The emotional weight of their experiences resonated deeply, and Elon could see the attendees shifting in their seats, moved by the narratives of resilience. Following his presentation, a panel discussion featuring experts in health, policy, and community advocacy unfolded. As speakers shared insights and experiences, Elon felt a sense of urgency build. He knew that the time for action was now, and he was determined to keep the momentum going. During a breakout session, Elon found himself engaged in a conversation with a government official who had previously been skeptical of their efforts. "Mr. Musk, I must admit, I was unsure about the impact of your campaign. But seeing the families and hearing their stories has changed my perspective," the official said earnestly. Elon seized the opportunity. "We need your support to create systemic change. The families require not just immediate assistance but long-term solutions that address the root causes of their suffering. Together, we can advocate for policy reforms that provide the resources they need." The official nodded, understanding the weight of their conversation. "I'm willing to explore ways we can collaborate. It's time we prioritize the well-being of these families." As the summit continued, the conversations shifted from skepticism to collaboration. Attendees began to brainstorm actionable solutions, and for the first time, Elon felt the tide turning in favor of the families he had come to admire. By the end of the day, the summit had exceeded all expectations. Commitments were made, partnerships formed, and a coalition emerged focused on advocating for families affected by Agent Orange. Elon left the venue with a sense of accomplishment, but he knew that the real work was just beginning. In the weeks that followed, the coalition began to take shape. Meetings were held to strategize, and discussions revolved around the creation of policies aimed at supporting families. Elon felt invigorated by the collaborative spirit, and he worked tirelessly to ensure that the voices of those impacted remained at the forefront. But as they made progress, challenges began to surface. Some local officials remained resistant to change, fearing that addressing the issue would disrupt the status quo. Elon found himself in meetings that felt combative, pushing back against entrenched beliefs and bureaucratic obstacles. In one particularly heated meeting, an official accused him of attempting to exploit the family's struggles for personal gain. "You're a wealthy businessman, what do you know about their lives?" the official challenged, crossing his arms defiantly. Elon felt anger rising within him but took a deep breath, grounding himself. "I may not have lived their experiences, but I have listened to their stories. I have seen their strength, their resilience, and their determination to create a better future for their children. This isn't about me, it's about ensuring they receive the support they deserve." The tension in the room was palpable, but his words seemed to resonate with some attendees. A local advocate stood up, echoing Elon's sentiment. "We are here to fight for these families. It's time to put aside our differences and focus on what truly matters, their well-being." Gradually, the mood shifted. More voices joined the conversation, emphasizing the importance of collaboration and empathy. By the end of the meeting, while not everyone was on board, a foundation of understanding had been established. With each small victory, Elon felt a growing sense of hope. He continued to push for change, fueled by the stories of families like Tuan and Lin. He recognized that the journey toward justice was rarely linear, it was filled with setbacks and breakthroughs. But with every challenge, he became more resolute in his commitment to support those who had suffered for too long. As he prepared for another community meeting, Elon reflected on how far they had come. The coalition was gaining traction, and families were starting to see the benefits of their advocacy. New programs were being developed, offering medical assistance, education, and resources to those in need. That evening, he joined a gathering at the community center, where families shared their stories and celebrated their successes. As he listened to the laughter of children and the gratitude expressed by parents, he felt a warmth in his heart. This was why he had fought so hard. Toward the end of the evening, Tuan approached him, holding Lin's hand. "We want to thank you again, Mr. Musk. You've given us hope and a chance for a better future," he said, emotion welling in his eyes. Elon smiled, feeling a deep connection to the family. "You've shown me what strength looks like. It's an honor to stand by your side." As they shared a moment of gratitude, Elon felt a renewed sense of purpose. The fight for justice was far from over, but he knew that together, they were making a difference. They had created a movement, and he was committed to ensuring it continued to grow. With the support of families, advocates, and newfound allies, Elon felt empowered to tackle the challenges ahead. The turning point had come, and he was ready to embrace the journey, knowing that the voices of those he fought for would always guide him forward. As the months rolled by, the momentum of the Agent Orange Fund continued to build, drawing national attention and support. With each new partnership formed and every dollar raised, the vision for systemic change grew clearer. Elon Musk stood at the forefront of this movement, advocating tirelessly for the families who had suffered for far too long. The coalition's efforts began to yield tangible results. New programs were launched, focusing on healthcare access, education, and psychological support for affected families. Workshops were organized, bringing together experts to provide guidance on navigating the challenges these families faced. The community rallied, empowered by the collective strength they had discovered. However, Elon knew that the work was far from complete. He remained committed to ensuring the fund would be sustainable and impactful for years to come. One day, while reviewing reports at the community center, he received an unexpected phone call from a prominent international organization that had taken notice of their work. "Mr. Musk, we're impressed by the strides your coalition has made," the representative said. "We'd like to discuss a potential partnership to expand your initiatives beyond Vietnam. This is a global issue, and we believe together we can create a broader impact." Elon felt a rush of excitement and anxiety. "That sounds incredible. What do you have in mind?" As they discussed the details, he learned about opportunities to address Agent Orange's effects on a global scale, particularly in areas that had been affected by war and chemical warfare. The possibility of amplifying their message and reaching more families around the world invigorated him. After the call, Elon gathered Min and Mizha to share the news. "We have a chance to take our work global," he said, his eyes shining with enthusiasm. This partnership could help us support families beyond Vietnam and raise awareness about the long-term effects of chemical warfare. Min leaned forward, intrigued. That could be a game changer. We need to strategize how to leverage this opportunity effectively. Ms. Ha smiled, her eyes sparkling with hope. This is our chance to show the world that we can make a difference. Over the next few weeks, they worked diligently to prepare for the partnership, drafting proposals and outlining their vision for a global initiative. As they navigated the logistics, Elon felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was about more than just raising funds, it was about changing lives and advocating for justice on a larger scale. The day of the announcement arrived, and Elon found himself standing before a crowd of supporters, community members, and media representatives. The atmosphere was electric as he prepared to unveil the next chapter of their journey. Today, we take a bold step forward, he began, his voice strong and clear. We are proud to announce a partnership that will allow us to extend our mission beyond Vietnam, advocating for families affected by Agent Orange worldwide. Applause erupted, and Elon felt a swell of pride. He shared stories from the community, emphasizing the importance of collective action and support. The crowd was captivated, each story reinforcing their shared commitment to the cause. As the announcement gained traction, the coalition received an influx of inquiries from organizations worldwide eager to collaborate. The campaign spread like wildfire, igniting conversations about the long-term consequences of chemical warfare and the ongoing struggles faced by affected families. But with increased visibility came greater scrutiny. As the coalition's reach expanded, so did the challenges. Some critics questioned the legitimacy of the fund and the efficacy of their initiatives. Elon found himself facing opposition from skeptics who doubted the coalition's ability to create lasting change. During a particularly challenging press conference, a journalist pressed him. "Mr. Musk, some say your involvement is more about your image than about genuine concern for the families. How do you respond to those criticisms?" Elon took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "I understand skepticism, but I urge you to look beyond the headlines. I've met these families, listened to their stories, and witnessed their struggles firsthand. This initiative is driven by their resilience, not by my image. I'm here to amplify their voices and fight for justice." His words resonated with many in the room, and he felt a wave of support wash over him. As the press conference concluded, he realized that authenticity was key. He would continue to share the stories of the families and remain transparent about the coalition's goals and challenges. In the months that followed, the global initiative gained traction, reaching families in countries that had faced similar struggles. Each partnership forged brought new resources and opportunities, creating a network of support that extended beyond borders. Elon traveled to various countries, meeting with families and advocates, each encounter deepening his commitment. He listened to their stories, shared in their laughter and tears, and felt a sense of solidarity that transcended cultural differences. Back home, the local community flourished as well. The Agent Orange Fund became a beacon of hope, inspiring other organizations to launch similar initiatives. Families felt empowered, and their voices grew stronger as they united in the fight for justice. One evening, as Elon attended a community gathering celebrating their achievements, he spotted Tuan and Lin across the room. Lin waved excitedly, her smile infectious as she rushed over. "Mr. Musk. I painted something for you," she exclaimed, holding out a vibrant canvas filled with colors that seemed to dance. Elon knelt down, taking the painting in his hands. "This is incredible, Lin. You have a real gift," he said, genuinely amazed. "Thank you. I want to help other kids like me," she said, her eyes shining with determination. "We can all be artists." Her words struck a chord in Elon's heart. Lin embodied the hope and resilience that had become the foundation of their movement. In that moment, he felt a deep sense of purpose reaffirmed. This was about empowering the next generation, ensuring they had the opportunities to thrive. As the night unfolded, families shared their success stories, laughter echoing through the hall. Elon mingled among them, absorbing the energy and joy that filled the room. He knew that while the journey had been fraught with challenges, they had created something beautiful together. Reflecting on the past years, Elon understood that change was not a destination but a continuous journey. The fight for justice would require ongoing commitment, compassion, and collaboration. But he was ready to embrace whatever lay ahead, armed with the knowledge that he was not alone. The Agent Orange Fund had evolved into a powerful movement, uniting families, advocates, and allies across the globe. Together, they would continue to push for systemic change, ensuring that the voices of those affected by Agent Orange would never be silenced again. As the evening drew to a close, Elon stepped outside, gazing at the stars shining brightly above. He felt a sense of peace wash over him, knowing that each step taken was a testament to the strength of community and the power of collective action. With renewed resolve, he looked to the future, ready to face the challenges ahead. The fight for justice was ongoing, but with each new beginning, he was confident that they would continue to make a difference, together.